Hey guys, it's Alpha back again with another video. This is the first episode in a continuing series of called Alpha of the Week, where I'll be going over what I think is upcoming, what are some good farms to get into, and what the market's looking like. So I'll be doing this kind of video at least once a week. I just give you guys my Alpha of the Week and what I think is good. So Q1 2022. So Q1 2022, we've seen a lot of different things, right? Essentially, we've seen what happened back in May, with the Bitcoin price extreme dump. We've also seen, in September and also November a dump. And these are, corrections that we've kind of expected, during the bull run, but not a lot of people really expected it to last this long or be for this long. And one of the reasons why a lot of people are actually skeptical of, the crypto market being in a bull run is all these dumps happening kind of for no reason, right? Like at first we kind of said, hey, it was because of leverage, and then, freaking China Evergrande and, all these different reasons. But coming to realize we don't really have that much big buyers in the market yet, right? And this is just me looking over the markets and what I think is, upcoming, and from other sources that I've seen, there kind of seems to be a general consensus, right, that we are getting back into that bull trend. And this is mainly because of these three consistent, if you want to call it corrections or dumps, right? I mean, we can all agree that May was kind of a huge dump, right? But then when you go back, when you see in September, this was kind of a correction. And then we see a more greater correction back in November that we've seen last month. And it's much bigger in size than the one back in September. However, if we look at it in a bigger scale, right, from what happened earlier this year, the last few months, or at least 10 or 12 months, right, we've seen that after every dump, there was a nice, good comeback, right? And this happens to be the third leg that we're going to come back on the Bitcoin price. So that's just the overall view of the market, right? A lot of people are assuming, or the consensus is that this is the third leg up. And generally in crypto markets, when there's a third leg up, it tends to go higher than the others. So a lot of people are expecting Bitcoin to at least hit 100K, if not way past 60K, maybe to 80K or something like that. So this is the time in the market where we have a lot of different kind of narratives, right? And if we can just look at like what these narratives are early on before Q1, we can get a good head start ahead of a lot of other people, right? So what are these narratives, and what are the upcoming narratives that are going to be changing? Well, we have to understand where we are in the market, right? Like I said earlier, the place that we are in the market is the third leg. Well, this third leg cannot, just go vertical, immediately off of where we started from. We did, depreciate a considerable amount. And is there a possibility that there's more room to go downwards? That's a good possibility, right? So we shouldn't think that, oh, this is the third leg, it's starting now. Well, there's no telling if it's going to start now or not, right? But I still do believe we're in a bull run. So it could go lower, it could go higher. And this is something that we're just going to have to understand and deal with, right? And I feel like this is kind of a bull trap, right? This is a trap for a lot of investors currently right now, I think the market is going to go parabolic, and there's a chance that could do that, but there's a higher chance, in my opinion, that the market would be kind of ranging in this area for a little bit before it actually decides to pop off, right? It might even go lower than we have been in the last few weeks. So let's just try to understand what the Q1 plays and theses are, right? So if we understand the Q1 plays and theses right now that we can have for ourselves, right? We can potentially have a capital appreciation play, or even a yield income in Q1, right? And now obviously if the third leg, thesis plays out, we're going to be wanting to play a capital appreciation play, right? Because our Q1 thesis is all about, can we get the most capital appreciation per project, right? That's our main goal. So let's take a step back and become more inclusive of what we actually mean. right? So the highest performers in this market, right, have been these L1 layer tokens, right? Or layer one tokens, right? These tokens have done very well. And there's this kind of thesis behind it that it's that the old giants like Bitcoin and Ethereum are gonna fall down, and these new layer ones are gonna take over, right? So I'm just gonna go over the narratives that I think are decent and I think that have a good chance of appreciating in Q1. So upcoming in Q1, I see these layer ones and also these these tokens doing very well, right? With the exception of DeFi Kingdoms and Curve, which aren't layer one tokens. Curve is on the Ethereum layer two. Well, they're also trying to bridge out into different layer ones, but it's mainly they have most of their funds on Ethereum, and then DeFi Kingdoms is currently on Harmony, but they're looking to expand as well, right? Phantom, AVAX, and Solana are all layer one tokens, and I want to give a little bit more, in-depth view of all these tokens and why they actually could be a good play for Q1, right? So let's just start off by going off with Phantom. So Phantom, has been a different spot than we've actually seen in the last few months, right? Or actually a few weeks, and also these few days, because it's been depreciating a lot when a lot of people didn't expect it to, and the bounce back actually, was able to put the price of Phantom at 40%, which is a lot higher than its peers. So if we look at the charts, we can see that Phantom has appreciated approximately, I think, 40% from here, close to 40%, 41%. So from the bottom that we've reached in the last few weeks, and compared to other coins like AVAX or Solana, right, which have only appreciated about like 20%, I think, about 20 something percent, Phantom has done very well, right? And there's a lot of theories behind why this price pumped like this. I think one of the main reasons we also have to understand why these layer one tokens are not really valued. You can't value them with one another, right? They're all very separate, because if you look at the Phantom chain as a whole, right? I think it peaked up about around $7 or $8, $9 billion, and now it's only at 4.6 billion, right? Whereas coins like Avalanche, for example, this is like a $30 billion protocol. Solana, $58 billion protocol, right? So these protocols have already appreciated in a larger amount, right? We're going off the market cap here, and obviously the dollar amount doesn't mean much. So when we see these pumps happening for these bigger L1s, right, we see an even, we can expect an even higher pump from Phantom, which is what we kind of expected during this downtrend, and Phantom has just been underperforming this whole time, and now it's just starting to rally up and reach that level. And this is kind of like, bittersweet for me, because, if you guys watch my past videos, I lost about $20,000 in the investing to the Phantom protocol. I had some LP staked over at Tomb Finance, and I lost it in the Grim Finance auto compounder protocol. So it's kind of bittersweet for me, because I didn't really, wasn't as exposed as I should have been or wanted to be for Phantom. So kind of lost a lot of opportunity there. But I was able to buy back in a few days ago, and I'm still riding this wave, and I still believe in the Phantom protocol as a whole. So the other thing I'm going to talk about with Phantom is that there is the UST pool or UST deposit on Abracadabra coming up for Phantom. So I want to show you guys quickly what that is, and that is this right here. So this pool, this UST pool, is only currently active on the Ethereum network, but they're trying to bridge this over to the Phantom network, and I think this is going to be really big, because you can currently earn 16.5% on your deposit, and that's the yield you can get. And I think you pay like a small borrow fee, which is about, here it's 1% borrow fee, but you're earning 16%. And the cool thing about this is you can actually change the leverage here, right? And actually loop, which is basically, let's say you deposit 1,000 UST here, right? And you can borrow a certain amount of MIM, on that, or you can just deposit it wherever you want to do. You can actually get that MIM that you borrow and then turn that back into UST and then redeposit it into the pool, right? And this would make your APY go up. So there's a liquidation threshold. I think 90% is your maximum collateral ratio, but you can put the liquidation for UST up to 90 cents or 95 cents, or even if you want to be more moderate or conservative, 80 cents or 85 cents. And this can actually boost your APY from 16% to like 60%, crazy. So you can earn up to 60%. I think if you put it to the 90%, to 90 cents, for UST, the 90 cents threshold, you can get like 85% or 80%. So it's really high for stable coins. Pretty soon that'll come to Ethereum. Obviously the only problem is right now it's on Ethereum. So if you, it's going to be on Phantom, but it's going to be on Phantom pretty soon, and you can get that APY on Phantom. So obviously right now, if you wanted to enter into this pool, you need a sizable amount of UST. I would say like $5,000 or $10,000 minimum to enter this pool to get that APY. But it's a good, time to put your money in stables, I believe, because the play, obviously, like I said earlier, isn't so much like trying to make the most amount of money. It's really, trying to understand that if we're in this third peg and we could go down lower, that we're kind of ranging in this area, right? Don't be too optimistic with this recent pump. We could just go back down and range for a while. So now is the perfect time to put your money into UST, or to take profits of coins that you already have right now. Obviously a 40% pump on Phantom, and put that back into a USD farm, right? Okay, so the other alpha that I have for you guys is the Spirit protocol. Now the Spirit protocol, I'm going to pull it up real quick here on CoinGecko. So Spirit is a really great swap, and also their upcoming. Their team is just doing so many things, right? So they're upcoming with a lot of different stuff, and one of the biggest things that I see Spirit succeeding in is actually creating a curve monetary system and convex curve monetary system. You guys probably have heard about that protocol, and what they're doing is something crazy, right? And over the last few days, it just went crazy. Like it went back to where it kind of was, right? And I bought back some at 8 cents because I was just like, this is a ridiculous appreciation play and also long-term play, right? But this is going to be a yield interest-bearing asset, right? That is really needed in this space right now. So I feel like Curve, if this third leg that we were talking about earlier happens, would be a really good play for the long term, right? So that's just my opinions on the Phantom chain. Obviously not financial advice, right? So just take a grain of salt with that. So the other play that I'm really interested about, and I talked about this in other videos, is the DeFi Kingdoms, right? And with DeFi Kingdoms, the biggest play that we could have is the LP pairs. I've gone over this in other videos, but as I mentioned before, the LP pairs on DeFi Kingdoms is ridiculously good. Like it's like 800, 700, 650%. And I mentioned before, a lot of it is locked, so it'll be unlocked after the final epoch. But you can still getting these yields is so good, right? And I want to go back into CoinGecko and just show you guys exactly what is going on with this protocol, right? Like I did a video about it a few days ago, and it was dumping, kind of, if you want to call it dumping, to 1350. I think it peaked around 1470, around here earlier, and now it's right back at that price point, right? And this thing is just getting bought up because the team behind it, they've made the game so playable, right, and so usable, and they're also bridging from Harmony to different protocols, right? So this is actually a no-brainer, right? A like 3 or 5% of the portfolio allocation would not hurt here at all, right? So I mentioned before, I'm personally in the Joule FTM pool, but there's so many other pools here that you could expose yourself into that is so beneficial, right? And for example, the Joule AVAX pool, is something that I would definitely be interested in, along with the FTM pool. And you can see here, this is Joel and AVAX, right? And you can see the correlation is not that high, right? In recent times, we've seen this stabilize in the recent days. And I feel like this could be a really good play on Joel and AVAX, right? To see them both really appreciate over time. So if you're a believer in AVAX more than you are Phantom, then you could easily do the Joel and AVAX pull on DeFi Kingdoms. Okay, so that's what I think about DeFi Kingdoms, really good protocol. And now let's go to the next one, which is AVAX, right? And for AVAX and for Solana, right, I have this thesis. I think that over the short term, AVAX might not do as well as it has, in the last few weeks or months. However, I do think it's a good hold, right? Because if we do believe in the narrative that I talked about, that third leg narrative, and we're thinking that Bitcoin is going to go past all-time highs at 80K or 100K, right? I do think now is a good time to get into these, solidified layer 1 tokens, just in case our riskier plays don't work out. These are really good, coins, Solana and AVAX, to hold on to, right? And I really believe that if the third leg does pump, these coins are going to do really, really well, if not the best, right? I mean, Solana is definitely a long-term hold, but this could be a really good mid-term hold as well. Might not be a good short-term hold though. So yeah, that's my understanding of Solana and AVAX right now, is that these could be. It's always a good time to accumulate. If you have money that you think that you want to invest in for the long term, money that you are not really wanting back or needing to sell the asset to get back for a while, then Solana and AVAX is a really good play. Okay, for the I guess most exciting long-term project alongside with Solana and AVAX, right, is Curve, CVX Curve. So these protocols that I've been talking about before, right, are really like DeFi Kingdoms and Solana and AVAX, right? These are recent predicaments that have happened over the last few months. These narratives that popped up, right? And they still have to prove their worth and to prove their longevity, right? But the Curve and Convex protocol, right, have really outdone themselves and have really made a name for themselves over the last few years. If we take a look at the price of Curve, right, we see a really strong appreciation play, and it's crazy because Curve and Joel, right, have just not been following the trend of Bitcoin, right? People are starting to see the value in these kind of coins, in gaming coins and in interest-bearing asset coins, and they're really taking advantage of that. And you can see the price reflects that, right? We're seeing more and more people trying to get into this long-term play. Now, the only downside of this is that, this is currently only on Ethereum, right? But they're, wanting to move to other chains eventually. But Ethereum is just the most well-known and the most used chain for Curve and for Convex, right? So let me just give you guys a quick rundown of the type of yield you could be earning on Convex. So the pool that, brings the best yield and also gives you the most exposure to Curve and Convex is the CVX CRV Curve pool, right? So this yields you about 58% on that asset class, right? And it's an appreciating asset paying you that much out. So this is a question that you're going to have for yourself, right? Like, do I, as someone who understands the concept of Curve or Convex, of those protocols, do I hodl the asset or do I just hold it for yield, right? And I can't answer that for you. I can't give you any financial advice, but that's the decision you would have to make. I think, either or are good plays, and that could be good for certain times of the year, right? Because if you understand the price history of Curve and Convex, you understand that it hasn't really been an easy road, right? I mean, this thing was really big, back in 2020, but last year around this time, right, September 2020, that thing just tanked all the way down here, right? So from a capital appreciation method, if you were like thinking of hodling this coin, you say, hey, I'm gonna buy it now at $5, right? I'm gonna hodl it. It's gonna go to $10, $20. This thing could very well just go back to $1.60, right? $2. We don't know, right? So, what you're planning to do by buying the asset is, if not as important as the yield that you're trying to accumulate, right? Because if you're buying it and thinking you're going to sell it later on, you're going to have that mindset and allocate accordingly, because this is definitely a long-term play, and it has been a long-term play for a lot of people, and it's paid out a lot of people a lot of money. So yeah, that's something that you have to figure out for yourself, right? I'm just presenting you with the data and what I think is going to be a good play long term. All right, guys, I try to make that video as quick as possible. Try to give you guys the most information in a short amount of time. So that's the video for the week. This is the alpha for the week. Thank you for watching the video. And if you like this kind of content more, please like and subscribe. I'll be trying to do this once a week if you guys like it. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are and if I missed anything or you have any suggestions. So thank you guys, and see you guys next time.